He's gonna have to plead guilty to something. Maybe the guns, tax evasion, trafficking.
Could this be the week Diddy trades his jail cell for house arrest? Not a chance. His third bail attempt? Shot down. Judge Arun Subramanian sided with prosecutors, ruling that Diddy should not be allowed to prepare for his 2025 trial from a luxury home. The court document made it clear. The court finds that the government has shown by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community. But don't think this means we can breathe easy just yet. Normally, you'd assume Diddy has zero chance of getting out, considering the charges. But with these new twists, it's starting to feel a little less certain. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, warns that as long as Diddy keeps paying top-tier lawyers, he'll keep trying, over and over, until he finds a way out. 2 judges already denied his bail. But here's where things get spicy. On November 22nd, Sean Diddy Combs appeared in a Manhattan federal courtroom for another shot at freedom. And get this, he walked in without shackles. Yes, you heard that right. His legal team argued that the cuffed inmate look would taint potential jurors. And guess what? Judge Subramanian agreed. Just like that, Diddy got to ditch the cuffs. Now, was this about fairness? Or just another slick PR move? Given his history of keeping up appearances, we all know the likely answer. But even without chains, insiders say Diddy looked unrecognizable. The Metropolitan Detention Center diet has taken its toll. Let's just say it's not 5-star dining. In case you missed it, Diddy's been locked up since September, facing serious allegations: racketeering, trafficking, and even organizing what prosecutors call freak-offs. And despite all this, his legal team still tried to sweeten the deal with an insane bail offer. Diddy's $50 million bail deal rejected again. His legal team offered a $50 million package, 24/7 private security, total house arrest, and even a ban on phones and the internet. Basically, they wanted to turn his mansion into a high-end fortress. Sound familiar? That's because this is the third time they've tried. But this time, the courtroom battle stretched for 2 hours. And guess what? Prosecutors weren't buying it. They argued that Diddy is a master manipulator, using his money and power to silence witnesses and even run social media campaigns from jail. But here's where it gets messy. Diddy allegedly broke prison rules using sneaky tactics: 3-way calls, secret access codes, and even paying off other inmates to use their phone privileges. According to prosecutors, Diddy used these illegal calls to reach witnesses he wasn't allowed to contact. The goal? Blackmail and intimidation. Either keep them quiet or twist their testimony in his favor. And it doesn't stop there. A review of recorded calls allegedly reveals Diddy instructed his own family to contact witnesses. Now, there's no official confirmation of this, but his family is standing by him. At his last court hearing, his kids showed up in matching black and white outfits. And let's not forget the infamous birthday video. Yep, while locked up, Diddy's family called him from jail, had his youngest daughter sing "Happy Birthday," and posted it on Instagram. Let's be real, that was adorable, but also strategic. Prosecutors say this was a calculated move to win public sympathy, a classic celebrity PR trick to look like a devoted family man. And insiders claim Diddy's own lawyers warned him not to post it. But guess what? He ignored them. Which raises the big question. If he won't listen to his lawyers on something this small, would he follow bail conditions at all? Prosecutors say enough with the PR stunts. But Diddy's defense? They're fighting back. Diddy's legal team calls out shady prison raid. Prosecutors claim Diddy was making secret calls to witnesses. But how did they find out? A surprise cell raid? Investigators searched his cell, snapped photos of handwritten notes, and handed them straight to the prosecution. And what did those notes allegedly contain? Payments to silence witnesses, and even plans to blackmail accusers. But here's where it gets even wilder. Prosecutors say Diddy called a family member to organize a smear campaign against an accuser. Sounds like something straight out of a mafia movie, right? Diddy's lawyers aren't letting this slide. They're accusing prosecutors of violating his 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights. Their claim? The notes were private attorney-client communications, not proof of witness tampering. But let's be real. It takes 19 pages to write heartfelt letters to lawyers? Diddy's team wants those notes completely off limits. But prosecutors aren't backing down. They insist the search was routine, not a setup, and argue that they should be allowed to use the notes in court. Convenient, right? Diddy's lawyers aren't buying it. They're calling the search a complete institutional failure, even hinting that this could justify dismissing the entire indictment. Talk about flipping the script. Now, here's the real twist. The judge sided with Diddy's team. Prosecutors were ordered to destroy all copies of the notes. But don't celebrate just yet. The originals? They're still locked up with the court. Judge Subramanian hasn't decided whether these notes can resurface at trial. He could throw them out completely, or let prosecutors use them later. For now, Diddy's lawyers are calling this a win. But will it last? Judge drops the hammer. Diddy's bail denied. Judge Subramanian, the man at the center of this legal circus, took his sweet time making a decision. After 2 hours of courtroom arguments, he ordered both sides to submit letters outlining what communication Diddy should be allowed if granted bail. And Diddy's team, they fired back. In their letter, they slammed the government's stance, arguing, the government is essentially arguing for a standard in which the entire press community and civil plaintiffs and the government itself can wage war against Mr. Combs' reputation. But Mr. Combs can't even try to influence public opinion himself in response. That is simply not the law. But they didn't stop there. In a last-ditch effort, Diddy's lawyers tried to sweeten the deal, promising he would have zero contact with victims or witnesses. To be clear, if released, Mr. Combs will accept any condition that instructs him to avoid all contact with an alleged victim and with a potential witness. Translation? He'd only communicate through his legal team, but prosecutors? They weren't having it. They hit back hard, listing Diddy's alleged history of violence, arguing that releasing him would be dangerous. This significant history of violence must be taken into account. Taken together, there can be no doubt that the government has proven the defendant's dangerousness by clear and convincing evidence. And it gets worse. Prosecutors claim even staff members have testified about violent outbursts, threats, and objects being thrown at them. Not exactly the motivational mogul image he built for himself. And while the judge sided with Diddy on the seized notes, bail was a different story. Denied. Diddy's legal team initially proposed house arrest at his Miami mansion, complete with a private boat dock. But the judge shut that down fast. Why? Because he could literally sail away. Then they tried offering a 3-bedroom Manhattan apartment. Smaller, less flashy, but still not enough to convince the court. With Diddy's history of bending the rules, even a concrete cell might not be restrictive enough. Is this the end for Diddy? Gene Deal says there's no way out of this. Diddy will be charged with something. Let's be real. Dodging jail completely? That seems unlikely at this point, especially with victims and witnesses spilling everything on social media. But here's the big question. Is this justice or a takedown? Some believe the system is finally holding him accountable after years of alleged misconduct. Others think he's being targeted because of his money and power. And then, those notes. If they were really attorney-client privileged, why did Diddy leave them lying around in his cell? A careless mistake? Or did he think he was too powerful to touch, even behind bars? So, does Diddy deserve a second chance? Or are these accusations too serious to ignore? Will he somehow walk free? Or is this the final chapter for one of hip-hop's biggest moguls? Drop your takes in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping updates.